Hello, and welcome to another episode of Walk the Dog Cinema. Here we are with the Rokaroo, letting the sun get down so we don't burn our paws on the hot cement. She's been itching to get going and get out on her daily walk here. And we're just gonna take a nice easy stroll as the sun sets. I got a beautiful red and white sunset going on over here. It's kind of got basically the purple mountains in the background, and everything's really a gorgeous day. If we were to take a look at the sky up and around, it's really beautiful. Nice walk to get going here with the Rokaroo. I hope you all have been having a good one. Today's movie, I'm going to talk about The Night Game with Roy Schneider, and pretty decent movie. I wouldn't exactly endorse it on per se, but I'll get into that. So today's movie, The Night Game. The Night Game with Roy Schneider. It was pretty good. It's entertaining. It's from like 1989. If you don't know Roy Schneider, he's great in Jaws for me. Always liked him as an actor. He's great in The French Connection. Kind of had a bigger career maybe in the 70s with all that jazz. But he was kind of like Gene Hackman for me. They always give great performances, even if the movie's mediocre, so they elevate them. And I would put that this is that movie. To each their own on this film. I find it entertaining, though I can't really endorse it. It isn't a great movie per se. It has its moments. It has a great performance by Roy Schneider. His fiance in the movie, she does a pretty good job with a limited role. She acts nice and sweet. She's kind of the final girl victim. The movie is kind of a horror movie. It's got slasher elements to it, but it is more police procedural. It has all the 80s tropes of the angry chief of police who's breathing down Roy Schneider's neck. Roy Schneider, he bucks the system and fights back against everybody. He fights back. This takes place in Galveston, Texas, and it's a lot of fun to see him chew the scenery, but it's really cliche. And I've talked in the past about clichéness, and the 80s movies had a lot of them. This movie carries maybe a little bit too much of it, that it's not really original. I will say I love the surrounding area. It really feels like a different part of Texas. The carnival, the pier. It plays off of baseball and the Houston Astros, which I think is pretty cool. Those elements are kind of nice. Like I said, it has this slasher element to it, and that aspect of it is kind of interesting in some different ways to make a police procedural out of a kind of horror movie slasher film. The killer uses a hook, a la like I Know What You Did Last Summer, though this predates that way before that. So it has some crazy stalking scenes where they stalk women, and you get a kind of a gruesome kill. I wouldn't say they're entirely original or scary. There's some suspense built into it, and you kind of go, oh wow, that was pretty brutal in that regard. But that's kind of where it ends with that. The who did it and committed the crime, how it builds to that, kind of doesn't really let you know. But how Roy Schneider gets there and figures it out is kind of cool. So like I said, it has a nice build to the climax, which I'll get to in a minute. So like I said, it ends up being kind of an interesting killer and his motives as to why he kills people and how we get there. Like I said, all those aspects are kind of interesting and fun. So those parts are kind of well with the price of admission, so to speak. It is on Amazon Prime, so if you want to check it out, you can check it out there. But of the movies I've watched this year, it's okay. You know, it can entertain, but I can see where a lot of people won't like it, and it might not be worth the time or effort to sit down and spend an hour and 45 minutes, to be honest. So I'd skip it for the most part. But if you're a fan of Roy Schneider, take a look at it. It has, I'll just say, spoiler alert, has like a really kind of kooky ending, that on some level kind of comes out of left field. After, I mean, they get the killer, like all 80s movies end for the most part in a good fashion. Even the climax is kind of clunky, how they go after Roy Schneider's girl. Getting there is, you know, interesting, but the ending fight, the ending sequence is just clunky as hell. There's just no suspense. We know the killer, even his stalking routine is just kind of meandering and happens out in public and other people see it, and it kind of loses all credibility. And then we get to the end, after Roy Schneider gets the guy, right? Shows him getting married to the girl. And I know I'm kind of spoiling the end here, I get it, but a spoiler, you know. I get that it's Houston Astros baseball, but they come running into the stadium, and the whole person that the murders are happening because of, you know, gets involved in this end. It's just, it goes even beyond 80s cheese. I mean, I smiled because it just was so out there that I couldn't imagine as an actor thinking, yeah, this is how I want to end the movie. You know, if you want to just fast forward all the way to the end, I mean, it is on streaming if you have Amazon Prime, but it's kind of ludicrously stupid even for the 80s. It's kind of, I guess I get it in relation to what the movie's about, but it's still just really stupid. So I don't know if I want to raise it up because it's so bad it's good kind of ending. It's earned, I guess, but at the same time it's dumb. So yeah, there's that, which, you know, like I said, there's moments in the film that are like that, but great Roy Schneider performance. So there you have it. Not much to say what else about the night game. If you check it out, let me know what you think. Otherwise, if you like and follow along and see the movies that I'm watching or checking them out, want to find other films, subscribe, and maybe I'll surprise you with what I have out there to take a gander at. Otherwise, everyone have a good one. See ya.